Alright, let's get thing on the road. The night is getting on, and I am getting older. Hey Jim, good evening to you. That was really quick. Barry, Bunty, iFix, DJ. Wow, everybody's really actually coming on really quickly tonight. Much better than most other nights. Hey, Michael. Alright, the important people are here. So we have a 1708, doesn't charge. I'm not exactly sure if it supposedly does boot. I'm just going to double check that. Although it's probably gone flat now, so yeah, can't test that one. Oops. I'll plug in the USB and just see what sort of current we're drawing. So we have only got 5 volts, so it looks like we've got a CD3215 issue. Alright. Which is a bit of a change, because lately I've been getting 20 volt machines that refuse to boot, which is actually somewhat worse of a situation. So you're better off having just the 5 volts, and at least you know you're going to have something to tackle around your CD3215s, or maybe your ISL, or maybe a short somewhere on the PP bus. But when you're getting your 20 volts and you've got 50 milliamp or 200 milliamp, then it's a little bit trickier. I found one today that was a nice 50 milliamp, and I found a short on the PP bus. I thought, yay, PP bus short, I can fix this, only to find that the short was in fact the CPU, or rather the GPU. That was the Kirk's creaming soda one from the other night. So I finally cleaned it all up and checked things over, and yeah, only to find out dead CPU, which is a real shame. Hey, Surgeon Circuits. That's Shyam. Good evening from India, I see. That's very good to see. Alright, so this has, it's interesting, I've spotted a bit of blue stuff down there. We'll obviously immediately take that off, so we don't have any power going through the board. And I do apologize, but we're going to immediately mark the drive, 723. Safety first when it comes to people's data. Just out of habit more than anything else. It doesn't particularly matter if this one may or may not be concerned with regards to data. I just do it out of habit. Hey Elijah. Jason, right, got your message too, by the way. Basically, I've had no manner of luck, so I think we're pretty much at the situation where we're going to have to just send everything back to you. Unfortunately, it's not the way I wanted it to go, but on the upside, it sort of indicates that you haven't apparently missed too much, or either that or we're both equally incompetent. I'll let you decide how you want to, how to want to interpret that outcome. Let's get this board out. If it's got CD3215 issues, then chances are it's going to be on the other side, so we may as well just take it out and have a good look. Yeah, Josh, I had high hopes as well, but I think what happened is the soda got into the GPU VRMs, and that pretty much killed it. These machines do not tolerate interference with the VRMs. Let's see, DJ Craze. Jason, we'll sort out something. I'm not after any, what do you call it, reimbursement on this one. I think it's one of those, scrub the job type scenarios, unfortunately. Like I said, I don't like to give that sort of outcome, but just seems like this one's been a bit of a defeater. See, DJ Craze was the flea market. They had a mid-2012s 1278 i7 8 gig 750. I didn't get it as I didn't have the dollars. This weekend I got a oh yeah. got it home, it was missing the battery, and the 740 was a dead 250 in the memory. Oh wow, they pulled a swifty-roo on you and someone else had swapped out the parts. That's low. Jason, just be aware that I'm equally disappointed in myself. You know I don't care much for a failure. Great. Now I gotta love those little pull tabs just failing there. Right. With all these 1708s, you've got to take this lower bottom bracket off so that you can get to the screw that holds the heatsink in. Hey, Andrew. Okie dokie, I think I've still got to get this out. This one's a bit of a tricky one. You don't want to mess this one up because it is the keyboard flex, but it is detachable, so it's not the end of the world if things go wrong with it. You just try not to make things go wrong with it. Oh, the tab was, it was just a plastic, yeah, just the adhesive tape thing. And let's see, first glances, can't spot anything on first glance. Yeah, usually I like with my 165s and things like that, I like to look at it and sort of guess what's going on, but this one looks pretty damn clean. It's not you. Oh, Jason, we can play this game. No, it's me. It's not. No, it's me. It's not you. It's you. It's me. Alright, I know I did put the tape on that, but I'm going to, sorry, the pen on that, but now I'm going to put the proper sticker on there. Easier to spot the sticker from afar across the room. Alright, well, we'll put the chassis aside and have a look. Hopefully we can find something. Interesting, there's a chipping out of, let's get our accusational probe here. So there's chipping out here, that's interesting. Now I'm kinda hoping on a clean board like this we might actually have a shorted cap. That'd be nice. I could certainly do with a win. It could also be the ISL. Notice how there's a little speck of liquid there. Hey Basil, welcome. Just trying to make sure I got my focus pretty much worked out. Yeah, chicken vindaloo, yeah. It's the sort of thing you want to do on the holidays when you don't have to go to work, when you can just stay at home and be near the bathroom if required. I suppose it depends on the vindaloo. So we've got this, okay, that's adhesive jelly, so like B5, B7000 kind of stuff. Interesting, we've actually got this red contact residue, but that's the speaker, so that can't really be at fault. And, okay, so that's the tip of someone's spudger. So that's one of those blue iPhone type separator spudgers. Looks like that one lost the war. Oh, this is an 875. Okay. Don't normally get the 875s. Normally everything I get in here is the 840. So this is an 875. Okay, interesting. Doesn't change things up too much, but good to note that it is not the... Ooh, I don't like that. Do not like that. Got enough dodginess happening around the VRMs lately. Let's see this again. Not sure what that is. It's some sort of adhesive. Hey, Mikhail. Still, it's 5 volts, so that's I consider to be interesting. I don't know if you can see that. I think it might be just a brush mark running in that direction there, and again a bit of goop there. I was kind of hoping that might be a vent. So when these capacitors sometimes, when they die, they will vent out the side and all you'll see is this discoloured circuit board region, but that really looks more like a scrub. I'm trying to get my head around what the story is behind this board, to be honest. Okay, we can see a bit of... There's a little bit of heat transfer compound there. Alright, I think I'll take some measurements and see what's going on here. Okay, 0.44, so PV bus is good. That's a good sign. While that chipping is annoying, it's not... Well, it shouldn't be causing any drama. The green under that current sense resistor is normal. That's just the substrate. Well, we're just going to check our cap value. The values around here and see what we come up with. Hey, Greg. Let's check. We'll go to continuity mode, even though I can't hear the buzzer. Everyone else can. Okay. So our fuses are good. I literally have to visually check to see what the reading is because I cannot trust my hearing. For all I know, I'll hear a buzz and there's no actual buzz happening, it's just in my head. I don't think the Apple repair did anything except disconnect the cables and determine logic board failure. I haven't done anything except disconnect the battery, flex, unscrew the large copper screw. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe just because it's an older board. I'm not. Well, actually, to be honest, I don't know if the 875 is more recent than the 840. Apple's numbering techniques are not always increasing. As in they're not always, well, I wouldn't say monotonically increasing, but yeah. We'll plug it in, we'll start measuring the voltages. The only trouble is, this being an 875, I don't think I've got the setup for it. I have for most of the other boards, but the 875, like I said, so very rarely encounter it. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna have to do a bit of bit of cut pasting here to make things happen. Let's see. Okay, it's a really, really hack way of doing this, but is it going to work? Damn it, no. Let's see, 850 we'll have them. Alright, yep. We should be able to get away with this, I think. So we only actually have U3100, but because Apple pretty much cut pastes everything in terms of designs, we can actually do our diagnosis using another board's sequences. I am still working pretty much flat out on Flexboard View. It's just like at the moment I've been working on the data representation, font sizes, things like that. It seems like a trivial thing, but it's surprisingly important. Like for instance, where the text is placed, what colors and things like that. So you can go into, there's so many different parameters now that I can set for just representing the text, and there's always going to be yet more parameters that people want, but we sort of have to cut the limit at some point. Let's see. Anyway, I don't know if there's any data on this one. Board preferences. Yeah, G3 Hot should have data. There, so yeah, just things like having this show up, different colors. Yeah, it's all there in preparation for the tweaking that's going to happen. All right, let's actually get to what matters, and that is diagnosing this thing. It's just as you sort of come out of the alpha phase of development, when you start getting into the user interface phase of the development, then it becomes a whole new ball game of taking forever. A whole new ball game. Okay, we need voltage mode. Hey, Catherine, good evening, and Mohammed, good evening to you too. Danny, this is Ubuntu, but I'm running Fluxbox. Okay, so... Oh, okay. I'll be right back. We've got a cat issue. Ow, ow, ow. Damn it. Simba. What are you doing? Come on. Wait. Simba.
He likes his space.
Here. Hey. You don't.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing? How dare you?
Come on, Simba. You're being a narc. Hey, what you being a narc for?
Yeah, he needed his mama.
No, don't cause any grief. Come on. Come here. Come here, you rat bag. Come on. Inside. Come on. Come on. Alrighty. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, one of the wildling foster cats got into our actual proper area, and while they don't usually have any run-ins with ours, as in terms of fights or anything like that, we just don't want to risk that sort of thing. Because it only takes one mistake to happen, and yeah, there can be a lot of trouble. Yeah, where the hell was I? Alright, 5.2. Okay, it's a little higher than normal, but okay, we'll run with that. So 3v3. Oh, okay. Oh, wrong one. Mind you, the fact that there's nothing on there is a concern to me. Okay, so we do have 3v3 there. What do we have to here? 1v8? Yep. One v8. Okay, 1v1. Okay, so we don't have 1v1, so we might have a what do you call it? A BIOS, not BIOS, a near fire issue. Maybe. Okay. So what is meant to be on here? G3. No. Now we'll just go check the other one as well and see if we get the same sort of behavior. G3200. Unfortunately, it looks like the naming system is a little bit different on this one, so we're probably going to have to fudge our way through this. Okay, 5.2. A little lower than normal. Let's see, I think this will be our 1v8. Yep, this will be our 1v8. A little lower. This will be our 1v1. And again, we do not have 1v1. So we've got potentially a communications issue to the EFI. Not to the EFI. My words are all wrong tonight. Alright, so where is that on this? Usually it's over here. Let's see, that one there I think is there, and I'm pretty sure this one here is the one we're after. Yep, it is. Okay, so all we need to do is essentially just get one of those from another board. They are programmed, but they seem to be quite tolerant of what their programming is. And this is a B03 board, interestingly. Alright, so it is an older model. So we'll swap that. It may not work, but actually what I'll do is I'll check the data lines, see what the diode mode values are. So what do you want? Clock select. That's the first one. Yep. Diode mode. Clock select. 0.59, that seems reasonable. Pin 3. .59, again reasonable because they both have the same sort of pull up and you sort of expect the same sort of high impedance to wherever they're going. I don't know what the clock will be. So what's pin 1? Oh, weird. Oh, it was clock. Duh. Ignore me. Pin 2 is the one I was wondering about. Okay, 2 and 5. 2, 5, 9, again, that's good. And 5. Interesting. Ah, it's under there. So we're going to get it from the end. Yep. Five, 9. 5, 6, midge lower. 5, 9. So the only thing that's out is pin 6, and that might actually just be fine. Okay, clock. Yeah, that's not a problem. So we'll just replace the chip, see how it goes. Yeah, I don't think I'll be getting a Lewis to upgrade quite yet. Soon, but not quite yet. I'd say probably another, I don't know, give it another 6 months. Mark, once we have some progress, I will do an update. We've kind of been, we've kind of been thrown a few spanners. As usual, I mean, that's pretty normal. the carpet that we were supposed to have for Alita's office so she can get down and start doing her work, they still have not delivered. And I went on to the local community group, which I knew that someone would be watching, and I just said to him, I can't get in touch with the people at this store. Does anyone know what's going on? Because it's been a couple of months and every time we try we don't have any luck, yada yada. And sure enough, within about 5 minutes Alita gets a phone call, and we're still going to be 2 weeks away. So it's a total around about 10 weeks. 10 weeks we're having to wait for carpet. It's a joke. We're never going to be buying from them again. We'll just go straight to Townsville in future. Yeah, they say buy local and all that bollocks, but quite frankly, that 10-week thing, that's just embarrassing. Now I understand there were some circumstances, like the fact that, damn it, Paul, where's your other... Nah, looks like Paul's been stealing them. But 10 weeks is just really still pushing it a bit too far. And we actually, our biggest mistake perhaps was prepaying. We didn't do a full prepayment, but we did put down, a 50% deposit. Thankfully it's not a large job. It's still frustrating though. Oh, come on. It's as frustrating as the fact that I don't have any of... Okay, this might be for... Oh, man. Well, we'll give it a shot anyway. I'm gonna sell you MacBook, I scam you. Lewis can't renew his business permit? I thought he put out a video to say he had that sorted out. What's the deal with not being able to renew the permit? Sounds like that someone's causing him intentional grief in that. Oh, they have been sorted. Okay, I was glad. Yeah, because I thought I saw the video saying that things have been worked out. Good night, Jason. Sorry I don't have the good news for you. Alright, let's see if we have any better off this time. The other possibility is we've just got an ISL issue. We do have the protocol. Yeah. Alright, I might go around and check some the rails. It's a little unusual though, but we'll check some PP rails and see if I can find anything that looks suspicious. These boards generally don't have a lot of apparent rails. But yeah, the lack of 1v1, I mean, it could be bad CD3215 BO3s, I guess. The problem here is that I don't, well, as I've said many a time, I don't like changing chips that have no apparent, misbehavior, no apparent visual issues. I mean, obviously that's limiting me a lot when it comes to repairs, but as a first glance situation, it's usually pretty good at stopping you from changing too many things. Yeah, really, being a local company, I have my sincerest doubts that there would be any such thing. Plus, there would probably be domestic or local backlash on that. The simplest thing for me to do is, once we do get the carpet in 2 weeks or whatever, like I said, it'll just be the end of all transactions, and if anyone should happen to ask me in the future on a recommendation, then I'll just go, not local. It's pretty simple in that respect. Which is unfortunate because, it is good to have local businesses, but if they're going to behave like that, then not so much. I think often when they have this whole buy local mantra thing, it's more of a uh, it's just artificial. What do you call it? Tariff sort of thing, not tariff, but trying to think of the word I want. Needs to say, you pay more, which I can handle, but you get suckier service, which I cannot handle. It'd be fine to have the same service at a higher price because of the convenience of it's being local, but not worse service. I'm just going through and blindly checking caps here, just in case there's something messing with. Okay, that's not legit. That's just a cap that's charged in the opposite direction. Okay, what's our current? We'll measure the current sense loop. 631. Okay, let's go to resistance mode. Measure the current sense loop, which is this sucker in here. 2.8687. That seems about right. Alright. Joseph King got floorboards in April but had prepaid for the board only in February. Once paid, the excuse started. Yeah, that's typical. Got a different installer. Right, yeah. So basically they're just sort of like trying to... That's the other problem is you get these stores that want full payment up front and things like that. And sometimes it's because they're protecting themselves. Most of the time it seems to be they're actually having a cash flow problem, and so they're trying to utilize your cash to buffer that problem away, and it's just a sign of things getting worse. So yeah. Do I replace batteries in iPads? Sometimes. Depends on the iPad. Often I try to run away. How's that sound? Let's do some measurements here. Let's see. PV bus G3 hot we've already measured. DC in. Let's do diode mode again. So no got which iPad to have. Basically the big problem with doing batteries on iPads is the fact that it's all too easy and common for that glass to get cracked. And then it's a whole big fuss fight. Okay, 0.53 for DC in. .42 seems okay. By the way, I don't have any diode values for this board on hand, but generally when it comes to these sort of scenarios, most of the time, if your diode values in like the range of anything between 0.3 and 0.7, it's usually going to be pretty good. iPad Air 2014, I'll have to find out. Yeah. Hey Johnny Nimble. It's not, I don't do a lot of them. I've only just started doing the screens, and even that has left me with some nightmares already. I had a whoopsie on 3.5, that's fine. That's on 3v3 G3 hop. Yeah, I had a whoopsie with the home button. Now I fixed the home button, but it's just like, that's often how the iPad world goes. Let's see, what am I doing here? For But yeah, I'll have to have a look. Can you send me an email with that, just so that when I'm finished up here, I can look at what you've sent through and remind myself that I'm supposed to send you a reply. I forget, how far away are you? Because obviously, yeah. 3.5, that's for 3v3 SO. 3v3 G3 hot. We just did that. Oh yeah, that's right. 1v8 S3. So we're not even really getting into any of these states, but sometimes you find the mischief is caused by a rail further down. Okay, where am I? So it doesn't hurt to check. I mean, sure, it's a couple of extra minutes, 0.31, that's fine. At least that's what I'm telling you all. Let's see. 1v2S3 is 0.21. That's probably okay, because it is a low voltage rail, and it's probably a moderately high current. Oh, you're in Melbourne. Oh, hell no. Sorry, no offense about it coming out. That came out a little bit aggressive. No, get a hold of Bill from A1 Mobile Repairs. He's in Geelong. Yeah, if you get him, he will do that for you. Yeah, Bill A1 Mobile Repairs in Geelong. Okay, we've got a fairly strong short here, but I'm not sure PP VTTSO. Not really sure what VTTSO is. It's probably the memory. It is memory, yeah. We'll check the resistance on that. It's a fairly low value, but it might be right. It's 239 ohms, so yeah, I think we can think that one's. Hey, Oscar. Okay, memory. I don't think we'll worry about the memory ones. It's not that far along. That's the problem. Likewise, CPU. We're not even getting our 20 volts up. Like PCH rails. Keith, the problem we have at the moment, well, there was actually a stuff up with the contractors. About 2 weeks ago, we chose what tiles we wanted. Might have been more than that. And we took them down to the tile store and said to him, right, when the contractor comes, these are the tiles that we want. He'll tell you what squareage we need, and go have the order. Anyway, today I'll check in with the builder and I sort of go, what's the current state? Since the work they've done is in the lock-up stage, that is, the door can be locked, it's weatherproofed, sort of thing. And he said, oh, just let me know when the tiles are arriving, sort of thing. And I was like, wait a second. I said, you were supposed to order them 2 weeks ago when we told the tile place, to expect you and all that. And he's like, oh, crap. So now we've got a 2-week delay, and it's just like, damn, this is frustrating, because you lose so much time unless you're basically sitting there, essentially being the foreman on the job. These things they too easily get out of hand. And before you know it, another couple of weeks have gone. Yeah, and I get it. The guy is absolutely running flat chat. He's extremely popular in town, but unfortunately, it's still frustrating to have to micromanage. Okay, you don't. That's fine. Yeah, I like to be able to just sort of go, okay, look, here's your money, and go make my building. Let's see, polish the concrete, no thanks. Yeah, the concrete we've got up there is terrible, which, funnily enough, is another flippin' stuff up. Alright, anyone want to throw in a suggestion here? We can go with the ISL replacement. That's a pretty generic, blind type scenario. I will put that chip back on though, the original one. I mean, the tiles we're getting are going to be really good. Like I said, the guy that we've got, that we've contracted to do the work, he is exceptionally good at his work. Now, that is why he is. Check battery charging MOSFET. Chetan Shah. I apologise if I've pronounced it incorrectly. Do you want to give me a rundown on your concept for that and why that will cause 5 volts? I do actually... I hear what you're saying. I believe I've heard other people mention similar, actually. Inject voltage. Barry! I'm not doing that. So we're talking Q3100, Q3200. See, the trouble I have with this on Q31 and Q32 is that I could understand if one was not working, like you try to plug it in one port and it doesn't come up, but I'm kind of curious as to how it applies. Why should, if one is dead, why would both be dead, so to speak? Hey Defbomb, how's it going? I just noticed that my gloves are fraying on me. Oh, Eric, I just realised, Eric, yeah, when I ripped up the carpet out of the rooms that we did clear out, it was like the Sahara Desert underneath. It was like a good, good 10 millimeters of sand sitting under there. Very, very, I don't know what the right word to use is, but, yeah. I was like, well, would you look at that? Fortunately, I was very happy. I had my gloves and all my personal protection equipment. Managed to get that out of here pretty quick, smart. Yeah, Def Bombs, I'm sorry. The new one now requires High Sierra or higher. And you can't actually blame me for that because it's because of the libraries that I'm using. They won't build on the earlier versions without some major hack job, and so High Sierra is where it is. Yeah, see, this is the trouble now. Itch. Yeah, it's a real problem because you got, when you're developing the new software and the libraries move up in terms of their versioning, I don't want to actually move up. I was perfectly happily on Yosemite. But because I couldn't build on Yosemite anymore, I had to move up to High Sierra, so it's a pain. It's a real pain. I don't use Windows to fix Macs, I use Linux. Have you weighed in your workshop cafe? No. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit. A lot of my hesitation here, like I said, is more a case of once you start moving parts around, you create secondary issues, or potentially create secondary issues. Yeah, I know, Depom, it's a pain, I agree. Like I said, I was perfectly happy to stay at Yosemite, but I'm trying to think which library it was. But because I had to include OpenSSL into this one, it was just getting way out of hand, and the amount of hoop jumping I had to go through to even try and get the build, it was just nightmarish. I'm actually gonna pop these off and have a look. At least popping off the CD3215s isn't a big issue, and the B03s, so I'm not too fussed. Now, I use Ubuntu and you know that. That's why you're saying such hurtful things. I used to use Slackware. I was a big Slackware person. And then one day I had enough of it. I had enough of all the messing around. If Slackware had put things into user local instead of local, then maybe we could have lived together happily a little bit longer. But it wasn't to be. Scope's kaput. Check the current sensing resistors. Sorry, yeah, the scope's... Okay, that's better. Check Q7065. Q7065. Oh, that one, right. Yeah, my bad. Okay, we already have actually checked the current loop on that, and that's fine. Okay, you need 555. I'm just looking at the board view and schematic at the moment. Gregory W, no, I am still waiting on them. I do believe they are actually now on their way. After all this time. Nah, bugger it. I'll just put a replacement on. Doesn't take too long. That'd be a good chance for me to see if these other ones are actually BO3s. Tested around the CPU. What do you mean by tested around the CPU? What specifically are you thinking? Like I said, we're not even getting, well, we're still stuck at 5 volts. We do have the right protocol, but we're stuck at 5 volts, which is rather sad. And none of the, oop, yeah, I saw it, don't worry. Don't freak out. I saw it. Oh my god, it knocked a resistor off. That's my impersonation of Lewis impersonating someone freaking out. Voltages on caps and resistors. Well, it's not like I can really test a lot at the moment because it's not even getting into a state where that kind of thing can come up and actually, yeah, this is all sort of pre-CPU kind of thing. Everything ran normally until it ran down the battery in an attempt to fix start. Now you see, normally I would have said, oh well, in that case it's probably just a bad battery, but the fact that it won't even pull up 20 volts standalone like this is, yeah, just weird. Yeah, for all I know, this is probably an ISL fault. So I'm going to actually just reball that 3215 because I have a feeling there was nothing wrong with that. It was the ISL I should have gone for, not this. I was sort of kind of hoping that maybe I'd see something under there. Yeah, a spot of junk or something. But once again, yeah, that's what happens when you start getting a little bit desperate. You start taking these options and more often than not you're not going to have any success. So just get some and everything under there looks perfectly good. Get ourselves a stencil. Did you have 3v3 on G3 Hot? I do believe I did. Damn it, now I've forgotten. But I'm fairly sure I did. I'll have to double check once I put this back on. Thanks, I really shouldn't have taken it off. Ah, here we go. This will be a slow reball, like about 260, 270 centigrade. Very slow job. The main reason for the slowness is going to be because this stencil loves to... Stencils in general like this love to pop. Just setting up some solder. Switch over to 250C and just get our paste out a little bit drier. So wait till all that excess flux wicks away. Let it bobble a little bit. Kind of like doing pancakes or pikelets or flapjacks or whatever the heck you want to call them. That'll do. This little ignet of solder paste. Transfer it over, drop it on, and you can see how much excess I've produced. Whoops. What I find better is what I should actually do is do something sacrilegious and cut this segment out. Because when you cut the segment out, because of the much smaller metal area around it, there's far less inclination for it to do the pop buckle. Because overall the whole sheet maintains a more even temperature, simply just by the fact that it's smaller relative to the same given thermal input. That looks moderately inspiring in terms of confidence. I say moderately, I don't want to get a little ahead of myself. Hey Mary. I might distort the stencil though. Well yeah, I mean that's quite likely, but the trouble is the stencil distorts regardless. I have a real thing sometimes with tweezers. I don't know, I have a spasm or something, and I have this habit of driving tweezers into my fingertips. Don't ask me why I do it. It's not like it's some bizarre perverted habit or anything. It's just weirdness. Just putting a little bit of flux on there, and I'm going to reflow that at a slightly higher temperature. Mostly I want to make sure that all those balls are set in. Yeah, they're not just sitting there conveniently floating waiting for me to try and put it down, and then they go, haha, tricked you, we weren't actually stuck to the chip. Andre, you ran fiber optics between two warehouses. What sort of distance were you doing? I think the worst thing about fibre optic, getting that, it depends on the type of fibre too. Yeah, some of them aren't too bad. But yeah, trying to get the alignment right on them. Spend a little bit too much time doing that. Plastic fibre can be nice, but that doesn't really help with the long distance, does it? 200 meters. Okay, so it's not intolerable. I presume you got that done without a repeater. You should have been able to, I guess. Anyway, it's still a pain though, I know. Especially if you've got a situation where you've got to get something around a radius and the fiber optic says no. We will not be doing that kind of radius today. $30-meter long train, yeah. Now, Pedro, you're going to get yourself kick banned at that rate. I drive the pace, damn it, man. Anyone would think I've never done it before. Gee, that took a lot. That's got to be the slowest pull-in that I've seen ever. It was so slow, I wasn't even sure that was happening. Alright, let's just go straight for what is possible culprit. Actually, I will test that MOSFET. Just see if we've got any crazy bad values happening on that. Okay, looking good so far. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's the body diode. Alright, now that MOSFET's looking pretty good. The values are coming up sort of where they should be from what I can guess. What I was looking for is if any of the combinations were extremely low. But they're all, you know, up and about where I would expect them to be. Okay, ISL. Here we go. Looking for an older Mac. I suggest a 2013, 21 or 27 inch. They're pretty good. You do have to still use a pizza cutter to get the screens to come off. But, yeah, when you use a piece of clear tape. Yeah, as long as you're not moving it anywhere. But yeah, the 2013 series is actually quite good. Once you get to 2015, it becomes a bit hellish, because if you try to get the screen off and you make a slight mistake, it's all over. At least I'm pretty sure the 2015 onwards is like that. Because at least with the 2013, they have a metallic barrier against the pizza cutter, preventing you touching the individual LCD vertical lines. Whereas 2015, I think onwards, they're like, stuff it. Let's save some mass. Yeah, let's save some mass and just leave that off and let people destroy the boards because the screens, they weren't supposed to be in there in the first place, so their own fault. Buffering, yep. Yeah, that'll be the NBN. Thank you very much, ALP. Sorry, LNP. Ha! Mind you, I do actually blame the ALP just as much. They were so weak on defending the NBN that, you know, it just got... As soon as the LNP got in, it was like, righto fellas, let's trash the place. And yeah, they trashed it. They trashed it good and proper. Gave some nice funny money to Telstra. A bunch of other people. Everybody on that camp walked away very happy. While the rest of us got to suffer with their crap network that they left us. It was an absolute frickin' travesty. Honestly, there's not many things I'd consider to be treason to the country. But the way they destroyed our future with the cluster truck of the NBN, I'd consider that treason. But I'd be willing to anyway. So what is it going to be, another 60 years before we get another chance? Hey Daniel. And honestly, for as much as I am happy that I get reasonably decent internet out here, I mean I get 140, it doesn't take away the fact, it's ridiculous because here I am in a rural zone getting internet that some people in city areas can't get. And that's not just purely because, okay, well there's not a lot of people out here so we don't have a lot of congestion on the line. Because if that was the case, then by the time my link gets to Townsville, then the congestion should start again. But it's not what's happening. Alright, I gotta get myself another... I just gotta find it first. Another 1939 or whatever. Come on, Paul. Where'd you put them? Around here somewhere. I think I've got him. That looks like one right there. I know it looks a little shonky, but it should be okay. I might have some more actually. I think I could see some better. Okay, no, you are chipped to all hell. Amusingly, that is how it was probably sent to me. New, unused, apparently. It's very much far from it. Yeah, 9239. Okay, we're gonna have a shot at fixing this one up and try it. You're eligible for a free fiber to the premises. Really, Andre? You kidding with me, or is there something I have missed out on here? Okay, I think I'm going to need some good dose of flux. And is that a chip out the top? Oh no! Damn it! Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will not be using this chip because it has a big chip in it. Yeah, that's a big no-no. That one's going to the bin. Damn it. Can't go using chips like that. Yeah, 98% new from... Yeah, exactly. It's nothing like a beautiful scheme. Okay, we've got one left in here. It's probably going to need reballing. It's funny, I did buy a fair number of these, and within about 2 weeks, I magically seem to have run out. Which seems all very typical. NBN is scheduling to upgrade all fibre to the node to full fibre. Really? That's fantastic, because I would love to see that happen. Okay, looks like you're a pull. You're not actually reballed yet. So we're going to go ahead, reball you. First give you a bit of a washover. Bit of a painful, protracted process. I do apologise. Unfortunately, I do not quite have the stocking levels that some other stores have. It'd be nice to just sort of like go to a drawer and pull out another 50 of these, but that doesn't always happen. And Mike Sims. Stencil time. The 16-inch MacBook Pro that restarts after the lid is closed. Does the act of closing the lid actually cause it to restart, or is it just sometime after it's been closed that it restarts? Mike Sims, it's a ISL 9239. They're still sufficiently, I wouldn't say rare, but they're still sufficiently expensive to get a hold of that you try and resuscitate which ones you can. It was convenient that I already had the paste on the spreader, the spudger. Call it what you will. Squeegee. I really hope that chip didn't move around under all that. Thankfully it did not. Yeah, Mike, it's basically the more, well, the modern, more difficult to obtain version of the same sort of thing that we have in the older MacBooks. But instead, yeah, they went along and put it in a delicate little chip package, and they said, no one else can have these, thank you very much. By order of Apple. Get that ball over there gives me concern. Yeah, it's spelled R-E, not E-R. Alright, the ball's fine. It was just a piece of flux that, interestingly enough, has actually mutated the ball itself a little bit. Mike, it does a bit more than that. This one, most of that sort of intelligent control, I think, is actually in the battery pack itself. This one is more about just simply producing voltages for the system. I could be wrong, I haven't looked at the data sheet. Shiny. Yummy steak, it just needs all the air to go underneath the balls. It's kind of like wearing a skirt. You just let the airflow cool you down. Free and breezy. Okay, pin 1 should be bottom right as far as I know. Yes, it is. MacBook Pro, I think it's usually about 12 layers, 8 to 12. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. I realise there is a corner chip out of this thing, but I think we're going to be okay. Now, this chip does love to fly off. So we're just going to drop the air a little bit, get a bit more control. Hey, Yamura, how's it going? A little late for you, is it? Or are you just enjoying the cool air? Can't tell if the damn thing has dropped or not. I'm gonna assume it has, based on the fact that it's leaded solder. Yes, that's warm. Temperature and airflow for rebuild really depends on your system, depends on how you do it, depends on how far away you're holding it, what nozzle you got, what your ambient is. I mean, in this case, I think I was using 420 and 70. There's simply too many variables involved. So while soldering irons, you can sort of give out values when it comes to hot air. It's near impossible, because at least with soldering irons, you're having direct contact, so it eliminates some degree of the variables. Hey, 20 volts. Okay, so it was the ISL. Pfft, yeah. Well, we turned a 20-minute job into... How long has this been going for? An hour and a half. Nice. 20-minute job into an hour and a half. Fantastic. Should have replaced the ISL. Oh, well. Interesting. I haven't had situations where the ISL can cause the missing 1v1. So I'll have to add that to my little notes so that I can add it into future information about dealing with CD3215 systems. Now, okay, so the ISL went kaput. I will actually have to put this through the ultrasonic still. We've got, liquid flux over here, flux here, flux here. You could sort of try and clean up for cotton bud and all that, but I think better to put it through the ultrasonic, make sure it endures, make sure it can live through that test. Okay, put that one away. So it's always going to be the one that you didn't go for first. So what's this? I just realised I didn't have the job data on screen. I apologise for that. Yeah, Andre, I'm really good at not listening to people. Damn it. Waar ist mein Scanner? Weird. It actually is reading it, but it's not getting into Open Broadcaster for some reason. Oh, okay, let's try that again. Even though it's the end of the job. Yeah. Not showing up. Oh well, doesn't matter. Another bug for me to find. Alright, so that one's done. But I will just put in the information. 723. Because you know how I am. Oh, hello. Just responding to Jessa Jones, who wasn't sure whether she should watch my video on something because of the title. Oh well, my bad. Let's see. Right, I've got to put in this data. 723. Add a note. ISL U7000 faulty. But I've also got to put in that CD3215 BO3 was swap, rebold, redone, and let's see. So, oh no, I'm not a very good typer. I can't type sequences so well in terms of normal text sequences, but when it comes to code, I think my fingers probably spend more time on the backspace key than anything else. So U2890, U2890, redone. Now the reason why I put down that I redid those chips, even though I didn't replace them, ultimately, I just simply resoldered them, put them back down, is because should anything in the future happen, it will allow me to go back and sort of go, you know, I messed around with that area, so let me go check, make sure that I haven't done anything, or maybe I did a poor job on the replacement. So yeah, that way I sort of have a record of what I messed around with. Of course, I've got the YouTube channel as well. Alright, before we're finishing up, we've actually got another 1708. I wonder if Michael's still here. Yes, Apple does devalue the term genius quite severely, but in saying that, society in general does also. It drives me insane, the number of people who will say things like, oh, you're a genius for doing that. It's like, really? No, just no. Not genius. Just because I can Google doesn't make me a genius. So please do not abuse that term. Yeah, hopefully, Michael, hopefully that's all it was. It does fit in with the pattern. Like I said, as usual, you go about these things the long way, so I apologise that probably gave you a little more angst than what you're prepared to deal with tonight. But there you go, it's hopefully up and running. I should probably test that. Yeah, actually, let me do that before I get into this too much more. I'll just get all these screws out. And we'll stick that board back into your chassis and verify that it is in fact booting. Because it'd be a real shame if, you know, make this song and dance about how wonderful it is that it's fixed and it's not fixed. Yeah. So we will have to put the drive in. No, we actually won't. I'll put one of my tester drives in. I do like these particular USB sticks. They've got the USB-C and the USB-A. I'm not sure though whether this... No, I'm going to have to stick the drive in. So I'm not sure whether this has secure boot active or not. No, my luck, if I don't put this drive in, it will be a secure boot setup and I won't be able to select what I need. Okay. Because that's just the way the law of Murphy works, or Sod's law, depending on where you come from. I know there is a difference between them, but depending on where you come from depends on which one you sort of generally fall to. And if I tried to pick which one it was, then the opposing law would state that I would always get it wrong anyway. Or maybe that is the 50-50-90 rule, which is also equally frustrating. We don't cheap out here on fan spin tests, we actually test things. This will also give us a chance to see if the charge system is alive. Now hopefully I did actually get that keyboard flex in, because it was a bit iffy. And hopefully the battery flexes in. We're not going to bother with the Wi-Fi. We will need to put a... Oh, look at that, nice beautiful screen. The number of times you open these things up and they look like hell. Okay, privacy, in theory. Boot. So we get our option key ready. Yep. Now this will take a little while. Andrea, need to swear more, do more fan spins, buy more Teslas. Well, I definitely agree to the buying more Teslas bit. I could start with buying one. I'll be happy with the Model 3. Played wouldn't be too bad either. Alright, looks like we've booted straight in, so that's of no use. We're currently at 0% here. Let's see if we can... Let's see if that... We'll give it a couple of minutes and see if that pushes up. In the meantime, I can read back in my comments. What's it? Barry West. My grandma used to say, what? A genius is just one step from being an idiot. Well, that's very true. And a lot of geniuses, the trouble is, it's kind of like skill points in a game. When you create a character and you've got, say, 15 skill points and you've got 6 different areas to spread them across. And, a lot of geniuses that people talk about tend to be the sort of people where they've put 14 points into one specific area, and then you got 1 point for breathing, I guess. And nothing wrong with that sort of person sort of thing. I'm just sort of going on about the fact that we probably tend to sort of attribute genius a little bit more to assuming that they've got other functional faculties in terms of their requirements in life. Because we don't really look at them or care about that side of thing, then we perhaps disproportionately measure ourselves against those people, when reality is that perhaps we are a more balanced or smarter person in a different area in life. So I tend to be very wary of using the term genius. Elon Musk has spread his genius around quite a few. Yes, well, Elon is I know a lot of people don't like him. And, but there's no denying, I don't think you can sort of get to those sort of levels of wealth in many cases without being some sort or having some degree of sociopathic tendencies. Sometimes it's with intent, sometimes it's just simply they just don't care. Some people may classify that more into, say, a autistic trait, or what is it, Asperger's trait. But Gregory, most certainly not. No. But, I do appreciate the fact that Elon Musk at least is actually, from a social outward perspective, doing something with his money. Now, I agree that a lot of his money also comes from the taxpayer, but then we only really complain about that because we know about it, we care about it because we're looking at it, as opposed to all the other companies that are doing exactly the same thing, but because they're not in the social spotlight, you don't give two hoots. It's a bit like the renewable energy or EV cars and all that. You get all these people coming out saying how they're trashing the environment, that they're not green, they have a footprint, they cause this and this and this, and it's like, you're absolutely right. They are not perfectly green. Nothing really is. But have you bothered... basically, the creation of electric vehicles, amazingly, I think the most powerful thing that they have done is they have created a great many millions of environmentalists now. All of a sudden, all these people, they're environmentalists. Like, oh, what about the cobalt and the child labor or the strip mining over in Uganda or whatever? And these people, they couldn't give two hoots before. It's like, yeah, well, I've got my diesel, I'm going to go roll some coal down at the local chocolate shop or whatever. But all of a sudden, no, they're environmentalists. You talk about EVs, you got to talk about that lithium and everything else. And it's like, oh, you're an environmentalist now. Good for you. Yeah, it's fun. Okay, we're still at 0. I'm going to try and plug the charge pack back in. I mean, I absolutely believe you do need to take note of what your footprint is. And at least with the renewable energy industry and the cars and things like that, it is a primary focus. It's something that is very much out there exposed for all people to see because everybody's analysing it. Whereas before it was a case of, oh, you know, it's just some platform out the sea. Don't worry about what happens under the ocean floor. Don't worry about all those 200,000 gallons a day of oil spilling out. Don't worry about that. And by the way, I'm not against oil or anything like that. I mean, it's an impressive resource. It's a resource we don't actually have a replacement for. The nice thing is, though, at least we'll be able to move towards using it for things that we don't have another replacement for, as opposed to just burning it. The other thing is when they go on about what about the landfill and whatever of, say, solar panels or batteries and all that. Look at this waste that's building up. But it's a perception issue because when people put fuel into the car and you combust that fuel and it goes off as vapor, you're not, because it's gone off into the atmosphere, at least short term, you're not seeing the build-up of the actual waste that you're generating, because it's not like it just magically goes nowhere. That fuel may have converted to gas, but it's still, mass-wise, is still there. And simply because it's living out in the oceans or in the sky does not mean it's not polluting everything. And if you look at the amount of mass of fuel that you go through, well, yeah, I'm sure it's a bit bigger than what the batteries and everything caused. Or the wind turbines, that's always a favourite one. Or the number of dead birds from the wind turbines. The dead birds from the wind turbine thing is a good one because I think it's like the kill rate per gigawatt hour generated is about 1/3 of coal power stations. And, it's good to try and minimize the amount of birds you kill or wildlife you kill. But it's a matter of pick your proportions correctly appropriately. Because if you look at the amount of wildlife killed by cars and stationary buildings and things like that, it's magnitudes more than what's killed by coal power stations, or less even. We got 1%. Good. I'm going to stop ranting soon. It's like you're talking, say, I think it's like 0.3 per gigawatt hour, whereas maybe a building kills. I can't really compare that metric. But needless to say, buildings and cars kill many tens of thousands more, and then of course domestic pets, introduced animals and all that, they kill another 10,000 times more as well. So, when they go on about how wind turbines kill birds, like, you're not really looking at the greater picture, are you? And then of course you say that, they'll say, what, you don't care about birds being killed? And it's like, yes you do, but you're now just being a pedantic see you in the NT. And so I think this debate is over. Alright, 2%, we're good. Now I can stop ranting. No one likes a ranter. Let's see, we got shut down. Okay, so that's working. Yeah, Joseph, they certainly are. And Yindiamara got that one. Any Australian would actually get that that little statement. It's a bit of a popular marketing term, even though they're trying to pretty much kill that marketing term, but it's a popular one because you can get away with it. So anyway, the first chance I get, I will definitely be getting an electric vehicle. I'll also be getting home wall storage. I'll be getting solar. I'll be doing everything I can to try and move to improve technologies, not only for the environment but also for myself, because it's nice to have your own energy security. I think it's something we should all work towards if we can. Not everyone can, so for those who can't, that's okay. There are other people who can do that. And I think overall we'll probably see the global power network, the electrical distribution network, shift away from this central generator with mass distribution fan out and be a more ad hoc, peer-to-peer type scenario, particularly as more people get home storage. especially even if you're not, well, I was going to, especially if you've got solar, but even if you don't, just having home storage is a really good thing. The only trouble is right now it's expensive. I don't mind debating with people. I just hate it when it starts getting silly. Look here, and you get all when stuff can't be talked about, like, well, let's backtrack on that and have a look at the figures. What do you got here? Where did I go wrong? Right, just realised this is semi-active. I screwed it in, but I didn't. We're doing a swap here, by the way. This is the dead CPU, but the chassis might be okay, so the client wants to see if I can put the other main board in here and hopefully get at least one functioning machine out of this. Basil Fusion would be nice. Not sure when we'll get there. I hope we do get there. Yeah, maybe it's going to be good for things like international shipping, flying things, stuff like that. Okay, I've got an itty bitty little screw on there and I don't know what that's from. Hey, Corey's here. Hey, Corey Postman. Haven't seen you for a while. You been around or just missing the streams? Gregory, I don't believe so, as far as I know. I don't very often get the pleasure of having donor boards from these jobs. Most of the time, the boards do go back to the owners. What they do with them, that's their business. I mean, obviously, I do get the occasional people who will sell me the board as a donor, and I'm happy to pay for them. Like, something like this, say this whole chassis, it could be anything from like $50 to $150 I'd pay. It depends on the state of affairs. Like, if it's complete train wreck, then you'd be like, well, no, actually, nope, no thanks. But if you feel like it has some parts that you can use, then I'll pay appropriately. Or maybe a little less than appropriately. It's a bit like when your car gets beyond the point where it's worth servicing and the wreckers come along. I don't know what you might call them in other countries, we just call them the wreckers. And they'll say, oh yeah mate, we'll give you $300 for your car. And you're thinking in the back of your head, man, the car's cost me $7,000 and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, $300 is probably what it's worth to them. They've still got to make their profits. And you have to realize that, what are you going to do with it? Is it going to just sit in your yard, rot, get rusty, and then you're going to get a council notice to say you need to remove it? Oops, that was bad of me. And at that point, you probably go, oh, maybe the $300 wasn't so bad. And you go back to the wrecker and you say, I'll take the 300. And they're like, ha ha ha, no, $100 now. All right. Yes, we are the MacBook wreckers, I'm afraid to say. What is going on out there? I don't know if it's a storm I'm hearing or someone with a grumbly car. Okay, so this is the new board. What's that? EV trading, games for 20 and selling them for 100. It's, that's the market. We want that kind of market, that's how it plays out. We're happy when we're on the winning side. We sure as hell gripe when we're not. But then again, that is also part of the market, we get to gripe. And then, mind you, lately it seems like it's become a profession to be, professional griper or a professional whiner. It's become more profitable than being good at something. Well, I suppose they're being good at being a whiner. Okay, 682 is dead, and 682's drive is not. Yeah, Paul. I did hear about the Starlink setups going wrong. I don't think it'll be offered to people like myself, which is a little bit of a shame. Would have liked to have tried it. But I suppose I should be thankful for having, like I said, the fibre to the node, so... And at least it is a pretty consistent 140. Yeah, it sounds car-like. And given that we've just had the supercar series in Townsville, it pretty much stacks up. Someone's out there tuning their car, trying to make it go faster, which really, in reality, they're just basically trying to make it go louder. People don't really want faster cars, they just want louder cars. Cars that get the attention of all the people they're going past. They're like, woo, look at me, I'm loud and obnoxious. Meanwhile, they get eclipsed by a silent electric car. In most cases. I see the Dodge 69 managed to thrash the pants off the Telstra Plaid, so that was fun to see. Alrighty. Once again, security screen, privacy screen rather. Plug it in. 20 volts, 1 amp. Okay, that's a good start. Looks like it's charging the battery in that case. And we've got a boot. Alright, so the chassis swap has worked, which is good. So even though the person basically, they start with 2 machines, at least they're getting 1 machine. Now this is the Candy Cola. I've got an itchy nose, I'm sorry. You know how it goes. This is the Candy Cola machine. So I am going to have to test it, make sure that the keyboard works, because that is probably one of the most vulnerable parts of this system, apart from the GPU and CPU VREGs. And if that goes alright, then yeah, at least they've got themselves a bit of a win out of that. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Not sure if you... blah blah blah. Sorry, Corey. Not sure if you saw earlier, but I'm around, just mostly lurking. Oh, okay. Alright then. Unless you want to comment on energy decentralization. Oh, cool. Okay. Yes, that's the other thing now. Corey's fault, everybody. But one of the big complaints is that renewables cause higher electricity bills, which really isn't the case that I can see. Most of the time, the high electricity bills that we experience tend to be from the overbuilding of the poles and distribution network, because we have an increasing demand, mind you, not with COVID, but generally an increasing demand of power, which means you have to over-engineer your main feeders to deal with that peak load twice a day. The rest of the time, that network sits around being massively underutilized. So by shifting everybody to a more decentralized network, we can actually reduce the cost impact or capital investment, maybe, required to maintain a network that can handle our demands. That's my theory anyway. Yeah, with decentralized, you got generally less losses in terms of distribution losses. You will have more losses in terms of conversion losses. It's a bit like it's more efficient to run one massive motor than it is to run many hundreds of small motors, but overall we will tend to come out better. Big Sir, is it Big Sir? Yeah. All I know is it works and I'm happy. And it's charging, that's beautiful. I love that. Fantastic. Alright, well that's at least going to make this person happy. Okay. Alright, that's it for me tonight. Went on a little bit longer than I expected, but that's the way it goes. And thank you very much for everyone watching. Hopefully didn't get put off too much by my environmental energy rants, but it's unfortunately a topic that I'm fairly passionate about. Ever since about the earlier 1980s, I was always into it, trying to come up with new inventions to try and reduce the amount of population in the world and stuff like that. So it was always been a focal point of my future actions. Okay, I'm out of here. You'll take care. And by the way, Flexboard View, the new development versions are out there. I'll upload this one with the new font setups and all that pretty soon. If you do have an existing license from up to 2 years ago, you may upgrade to this one, no charge. If you need to get a new license, if you're just buying out of the blue, it's 179 US now. It's still pretty cheap because that is a perpetual license. It's not like it just expires on you when you most need it, when you're trying to fix something. Okay, I'm out of here. You'll take care. See you later.